Well, the host has got to host it.
In the playback. All right, guys, I'm recording. It is July 30th. We started already talking about those of us that are in the Morning Meltdown super trainer. No, it's the Morning Meltdown 100 like group for coaches. I can't remember the name of the group, but basically that there's already content in there. And on Thursday and Friday at 1 Eastern, so you'll have to do your math. So that's like noon Central. Anyways, but they're going to go live in there with Autumn on Friday and Alana on Thursday. So with the two nutritional programs, they're going to talk a little bit more about MM100. And I know that this group, a lot of us in this group and a lot of our customers, at least I know for me, and I know Emily had this question too from a customer, have been asking about nutrition. And so I know a lot of us are kind of focusing a little bit more on nutrition and how can we help our customers. And I still truly feel like a customer's best way to get help is to just get one of those two programs. But hopefully by them explaining a little bit more about the nutrition programs, we can get back into our own nutrition programs and start to help some other people. So those ones I will be catching, and what I'll probably do is in Be Well community, I'll probably go live afterwards, or if somebody else goes live before me and like shares a summary, cool, whatever like happens. But just wanted to put that on our radar. That really wasn't what I was going to start with today, but we just started talking about it. So let me get my notes pulled back up. I minimized everything so I could see your all's faces. Oh no, I just closed it all. Well, that was brilliant. All right, let me go to Evernote. So I'll go ahead and let Neil take it over because we are going to start with recognition. So he's going to share his screen and do our team recognition for the night. And he has a new slide that will be super cool to share with you guys.
All right, here we go on recognition. What is it they say on the wake-up call? Mr. Fantastic?
Mr. Fantastic. Let me introduce to you Mr. Fantastic himself.
We get everybody's names and everything.
Oh, man, guys.
This is the team growers. Basically, anybody that got new coaches this month. Kayla, which we recognized last week, and then Emily also signed up a coach this week as well. Here's an updated Success Club, updated today. If anybody else has anybody signed up today, it might not be on there, but basically this is where everybody's kind of sitting now. We've got some more people that we haven't even seen up there in a while, so that's great to see so many names. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people are getting started with Morning Meltdown, so that's great. Here is our updated Race to Diamond. So this is kind of where everybody's at with active coaches. You can kind of look through there. Ashley's got 2. Brooke's got 4. I'm sitting at 6. Heather's got 2. Paula's got 1, Emily with 3, Casey with 1, and Tamara is with 2.
And then we want to remind you guys, if you or your coaches want to be on this list, to just let us know and we'll put you guys on there. So like my second business center is on there because I was like, well, right. I'm not necessarily growing it, but I kind of want to I'm not ignoring it either. Yeah, sometimes,
and this is just a graphical representation. You can kind of see if you kind of get jumbled up in the back office, it's kind of nice just to see simply kind of where everything's at. But and then we also wanted to recognize volume. So here's kind of the same chart that just kind of shows where the PV is for the month. So this is basically your PV for the last 4 weeks. The blue purple is your personal volume, and then if you have a spouse account, that is in the little green sliver on top. So
teal.
It's different colors on both of these screens, so I don't know what color. But anyway,
teal on your
so that's what it
too.
is. And then of course the numbers. So we just want to recognize that for you guys too. And
yeah, so congrats. A lot of you are already at or close
it back over to Sandy.
Thank you, Mr. Fantastic. So a lot of you are already at that 500 monthly PV for monthly PV for the month. And that is one of the things, if you've ever wondered about volume, Michelle has a unit in TeamGive that we've that some of us have contributed to that talk a little bit about why 500 PV is valuable. So we're not going to cover all that right now. Again, same with this slide. If you want your name on there, tell us. So we put everybody that had kind of told us that they were working or wanting to work the business on there. And I feel like there's some people that are definitely missing on that list that we should, but we just need to literally hear from you.
Just reach out.
Just reach out. All right. Do you want to stop your screen share? So funny story, guys. I literally, a lot of you saw I tagged you on Instagram, how I typed up notes for this call. You saw it was pretty long, right? Opened it up just now, it's gone. It's gone. It's like completely, like nothing, zero, none. I was like, wow, that's awesome. And I worked for like 30 minutes on that, okay? So I was really proud, but that's okay. I'm gonna go back to my good old handy dandy notebook of what I said I was gonna talk about, and we'll start from there. So now I need to grab my book that I don't have in front of me. So Neil, entertain them for a hot second.
All right, here we go. All right, so here's the church. Here's the people. You open it up and see all the people. That's it. That's all I got.
Boo. Was it good?
So,
Was that good, Neil? Oh my gosh. All right, guys. So anyway, so that's fun. You know, I always love technology. I don't know if it was the thunderstorms or what happened, but we're here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of, we're talking a little bit about vision and goals on this call. So I want you to imagine right now, pardon? It's not on my phone, I just looked. It's blank. Are you ready? Ready for it? It's blank. It's blank, completely blank. See, white screen, no notes. Thanks, Evernote. Anyway, so I want you guys to imagine that you are outside of a room, you kind of showed up a little bit late. And you're coming into this room, and everybody that you see on this screen is in this room, plus a bunch of other coaches that you know. And everybody that's in that room is already like this on their phones. They're just like this. They're just going on their phones. And you walk in and you say to the first person, the first coach that you see, hey, what are you doing? And what's going on in here? And she just says, I'm just doing what my coach told me to do. All right, so you're like, okay, cool. Like, I still don't know what you're doing. So you go and you see the next person. You're like, hey, what are you doing? And she says, oh, well, I'm just trying to make some money. And so you're like, oh, okay. And so you just go to the next person. And you're like, hey, what are you doing? And this girl instead, she's like, oh, I'm about to change somebody's life. I'm doing really important work right now. You should get started too. So as you go through, everybody's doing the same thing. What they were doing was what their coach just instructed them to do. They were sending out messages to people. They were sending out invites to people. But each coach had a different look at what that meant to them. One person just said, I'm doing it because it's what my coach told me to do. The other person said, just trying to make a couple bucks. The next person said, I'm trying to change a life today. And so that first person just saw what she was doing as kind of trivial and didn't really have any mindset of something bigger. They were just doing what they were told, and a lot of times we do that, and that's fine. Sometimes you just do some things that you're told, but that's not really gonna help that person with all those messages. The next person, the second person, she really didn't have other beyond money. And so if you're just here to try to make a living, then it might not be the best place and best fit for you. But the last person, if that last person who said, I'm here to change somebody's life, they're the ones that are doing something great, and that means that this is the place for them. And that's what we really want to approach all of our messaging, all of our posting with. So if we can't get into that mindset first that we are truly going to change somebody's life with what we have, then you might want to put your phone down and stop messaging. Now, if you go on weeks and weeks and weeks of not doing this, then it might not be cut out for you. But if you can go like a day and you're just like, I really didn't have it in me today. I really all I was doing was like sending a copy paste message, and that's all that you were doing, and you just had no heart behind it, but you know that you want to help some people, then you got to have a mindset shift. You got to figure out what is that vision that I want and why do I want it. So I wanted to share a story that Michelle Kellogg had shared in Team Give. So I'm going to share my screen actually. I did have this one saved. This one was popped up already, and it's this video. I'm going to let us watch the video for a hot second.
Stop when you're on it. Don't overdo it. Okay.
So that was Jillian. She's a coach, and I'm going to read her story because it's a little hard to see on your screen. But she says, this isn't easy to share, but today is a big anniversary. It's been 1 year since I nearly lost my life. I know I have a lot of new followers, so for those of you who are new, here's the recap. Before work on August 10th, 2016, I was walking my dog, a new puppy that we had just adopted a month prior. I was crossing a crossroad in broad daylight and was hit at full speed by a distracted driver. I remember nothing. People at the scene did not think I would make it. I had emergency brain surgery within 30 minutes of getting to the hospital to save my life. I shattered my pelvis, my face, my sternum, my septum. I spent a whole month in the hospital and 2+ months wheelchair bound, unable to stand, with the exception of being allowed to pivot in and out of the wheelchair to get out of the bed, go to the bathroom, etc. I was a health and fitness coach before the accident, and there is zero doubt in my mind that being fit saved my life. Your body cannot sustain that kind of trauma if you don't take care of it. Before they put the pelvis fixator in, they did not know if I would walk again. I remember that my right leg would not move for weeks unless I physically picked it up and moved it myself. I was scared. This has now become part of my story. I'm determined to help others live healthy, fulfilling lives, both mentally and physically. This is why I share so much and work to help people achieve their goals. Being fit is so much more than skinny jeans. It's about taking care of yourself. And yes, here I am in the hospital right after brain surgery. Check that out. Lifting weights because I could. And my little dog was just fine. I'm told she flew through the air and bounced. She immediately came to my side, and the numbers on her tag, they were able to call my husband. I am a real-life miracle thanks to modern medicine, self-care, and determination. I live a totally normal life with zero pain and no metal left in my body, with the exceptions of a plate in my head from the brain surgery. 3 months after my accident, I started my first fitness program, and 4 months after the accident, after I had had a miscarriage and infertility before I crushed my pelvis into my uterus, I got pregnant. And in about a month, I will give birth to another life. If that is not a true testament to what good nutrition and fitness, I don't know why I'm not able to see all this post. Hold on. Let me scroll down, guys. There we go. Well, because y'all are covering it up. So let me see if I can click on this. But basically, if that's not a testament to what true nutrition and fitness can do, I don't know what is what that ends with. And so while not all of our stories, I don't think any of our stories are that traumatic, we have to remember that that could be the story of one of our challengers. That could be the story of your mom. That could be the story of your sister, of your best friend from high school. So when you think about inviting somebody, I don't want you to think about the Success Club point. I don't want you to think about the number or the income as much as I want you to think about that type of story that could impact somebody's life. And I've heard that time and again. There was a local woman who had cancer here, and what got her through, part of that was having that group of community women that were able to support her. And we don't have to have those big, huge life happenings to know that something's changed. I mean, I can think about myself, and who reached out to me postpartum was the people that were in my fitness community when I was struggling the most, when I was screaming and wanting to literally just throw the babies down the stairs and go take my car and drive it into a ditch. Those were the people that had my back and were there to help keep me sane. And then, encouraged me to go seek mental health. So it's just, I have to remember, if I didn't invite those people, my life could be totally different right now. My kid's life could be totally different right now. And so thankfully, because of Beachbody, I was able to have that. And then same like this, just like Jillian, she's able to have her health, and she doesn't think that she would have survived if she didn't already have such good physical health. And so while I know that that's a bigger story than most, again, I want to know that we all have a story, and we all have stories that we've heard from our own challengers or from our own coach or from our upline. So I just want somebody on here, anybody that feels called to, do you have a story about a great coach or client experience that you want to share? And it doesn't have to be traumatic. It can be something joyful, like somebody that told you something that you helped them with. Yes, Haley.
I actually was going to ask, just a second ago, if I could talk for a second, because it's really funny. I wasn't even thinking it as you were sharing the story, and you were like, think if this was your friend or your mom or whatever. And actually, that was my mom. So my mom started with Beachbody way back in 2006 or 2007, which is how I know Michelle, which is a long story. But anyway, so my mom's been working out her whole life, has done Beachbody since 2007. I think like 4 years ago, her and her husband were out riding their bikes, and they were riding the Silver Comet Trail like they did all the time. They would ride like 60 or 70 miles on the weekend. And there was one day that it had been raining. It wasn't raining anymore, but it had been raining, and I guess the road was wet enough. They were going down a hill, and she slid into a tree and hit the tree going like 30, I think she said she was going like 35 miles an hour, and broke her clavicle, broke her something else in here, broke like 4 places in her back, broke her neck, had a brain bleed. Like, it was insane. Months and months and months of physical therapy. And they basically, even up until a couple of months ago, the doctor was like, I don't know how you have so much movement in your shoulders. And she was doing Chalene Johnson's program before she got hurt. And she just finished 80-Day Obsession and started it over again. And she'll tell you in a second, she knew how to, it wasn't just healing, it was knowing what to do while she was healing that got her mobility back. Because otherwise, like, doctors don't always tell you all the stuff that we know aren't things that sometimes they do. And so a lot of the stuff that she knew to do, no one was telling her. And so it's like, well, maybe she wouldn't have gotten her mobility back if she had not been in Beachbody in the first place.
That's amazing. I mean, it's so true. There's a lot of programs that are in Beachbody that are actually designed for healing. Total Body Solutions, Tai Chang, the recovery and mobility from P90X2. Like, there's a lot in there that can help your friends when they do have an injury. And then just like you said too, I mean, she knew the other programs, so she had done other things through those programs. Anybody else have a story about that they would like to share? I mean, don't feel like you have to, but if you want to, like, I would love to open up the door. Okay. And then I'll share too, like and this is, you know, the opposite, not quite the same as where we were going with that, but we, like the other day, I literally, what was I listening to? I was listening to Get Over Your Damn Self. And she was talking about, like, you just have to ask the universe, God, whatever you believe in, to just, which I think all of us believe in God, but we have to like ask, like, I am ready, and I'm so ready to help some people. Like, you really have to just ask and speak those things into life, and just ask daily and tell him, like, I am ready. Please bring the right people into my life. And I'll be honest, like, I said that on Saturday, and then on Monday, I can't tell you how many people came to me asking about coaching. Like, it was ridiculous, and amazing and beautiful. And like, have any of them signed up? Not yet. But like, I really feel like it's because I keep telling God, like, I am so ready to help a whole lot of coaches get started. And then on that same note, this is where I want to segue into Brooke had something that she had done. And this is like part of visioning and envisioning your life and visioning method. And I wanted her to just kind of share a practice that she had done and what that had meant to her. And she shared it in Team Give, I think, in a live video, but she's going to share it here.
Yeah. So, I'm going to try to make this really quick, but basically, like this time last year, I was working a job I was miserable at. They kept working me 9 days in a row. I just felt like they didn't value me or my life or my time. And I just felt like I lived to work. Like, I was so miserable. Like, even when I would finally be off for 2 days, it was like I was preparing to go back to work for like another 9 days. It was just like I had time to meal prep and do laundry, and you can't even meal prep for 9 days because it goes bad after 5 anyways. It was just like, it was so shitty. And I just thought to myself, like, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. This is not going to be my life. Like, I refuse to have this for the rest of my life. I've got to do something. And I thought in the back of my mind, I just had it on my heart. Like, I really wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know what. Like, I thought I was going to do a blog. And I just lost my train of thought. Like, I didn't even know what Beachbody was. I had never used a Beachbody product. I was not one of Tamara's customers. Like, I didn't even, like, never in my life. I didn't even know Beachbody was a business. And I listened to Girl Wash Your Face in August. And like, as soon as she started talking about, she wrote down her 10 dreams as affirmations as if they had already happened. And she did that every day. And she said all of her old ones were where she was at now. And I was like, I'm going to start doing that. And so I started doing it like same day. I'm pretty sure I finished that book in 24 hours. And I started doing it like the whole month of August. And like all of them have come true to date. And it was so weird. Like, I just remember the reason I broke down in Team Give was because I remember how miserable I was every day when I was writing them down. And so like to revisit that and be on the other side of it, I just like, I lost. I was just like, I'm not going to cry this time. But yeah, it's extremely powerful, not only to write them down, but to just speak those things out loud into existence. So I'll share them with you and then I'm done. Okay, so it was, I make my own schedule. I work from home. I am so in shape. I am extremely confident in my abilities as a writer because y'all, I thought I was going to do a blog. Like, I did not know anything about Beachbody. God gives me inspiration every single day. I am very confident in myself. I feel no need to make myself small for others. And I only had 7, but like this is legit the same one that I wrote down. So that's all.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm not crying, you're crying. Seriously, it's so powerful when that happens. And I'm just like, I remember that video from you sharing that. And I don't know, Brooke, have you shared that on your personal page or just in Team Give?
I don't remember. I don't think I did share it on my personal page. I don't remember why, but I don't think that I did.
Okay, that would probably be something that would help a lot of people. Yeah, I would say a nice little live with that and just explaining like where you got it from, just like you just did, and speaking it aloud would be really powerful. So, but yeah, I think I know that there's a lot of power in writing that down. And one of the first things that Michelle had me do as a new coach was write down, what do I really want from this business and what do I really not want? And everything on that list, it's still pinned downstairs in our basement. It's all happened. Like all of it except for I think like the mountain home hasn't happened, but it's like I'm not like it's still there. Like we will have a mountain home and we will have a beach home, and you guys are all invited next year. Well, that one will probably be a rental unless if we just make it huge. But y'all are invited.
We gotta own the thing.
You gotta stay in it. No, we'll live near the beach and y'all come visit. But that's what I really want you guys to start thinking about is that vision. And I know some of you have the Rise Up Planner from Moira, and that really goes through the process of writing down your vision in a different way. So there's that. There's all sorts of, if you Google any sort of like write out your vision, you'll find something, or even vision and Beachbody, you'll find something, or Vision Moira. I bet she has it recorded. And so one thing that I will share, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the notes of this, which again, this was all saved, but that's okay. I'm going to get you guys the link. This is called the envisioning method. I cannot play it while we're on a call. Otherwise my video to YouTube will get like declined when I try to upload this video to YouTube. But this is called the envisioning method. And it is from Vishen can you say his name? Lakalani. We first heard it on the Omvana app. But I did find it on YouTube. So everybody in the chat, you can kind of see that. And then anybody watching the playback, I'll try to link it below. But this is something that you can do in the morning to help you with like getting your vision. And this one's really focused on your vision for the day, more so than your whole life. I mean, there is some steps in there for the future as well. But I really think if you start to do one of those two methods or both, where you write it down or you really think about it. And I think written is a little bit more powerful, but also meditation can help a lot. And this is kind of like a meditation series if you do that link that I just shared. But my vision is always, it's written in the front of my book. And I read this every single morning. And it's literally like half these things have come true. I'll read a small part. So like on here, and this was part from Moira as well. And I do have the Moira planner. I just had this planner first, and I'm like one of those, I will use this one until it's done, and it is almost done. And then I'll switch to the Rise Up planner. But I write on here what makes me feel happy and fulfilled, what makes me feel accomplished, what are my core values, what are my passions, what do I believe to be my purpose, and how do I envision my best life? And then I wrote down what my work day looks like, what our income is like, what our home is like, what Neil and I are like together, what my body is like, and what the community is like. And then I read that. And you can do one of two things. You can write it, which is really the most powerful method, I think. You can record it on your phone and listen to it on playback. I have that as well. I do that for my affirmations, which is a little different than my vision. But I do that for my affirmations, and sometimes I'll listen to those while my workout starts, because I spoke it all and it's like 8 minutes long, and sometimes I don't want to read 8 minutes worth of stuff every morning because I already just read my vision and now here's my affirmations. And so I just kind of talk them out as I'm going. But all of the things are coming true. Like Neil is retired from corporate America. We make multiple 6 figures from Beachbody. We work mornings and early afternoons with most evenings off together. We have a mountain home and a beach home. We have annual team trips. We are paying for these family vacations and for some of our team trips. And we travel 2 to 3 weeks of each quarter. And then, I believe that my purpose is to work my Beachbody business to inspire others to go for time freedom too, and to help them accomplish that through Beachbody, to inspire others to connect with God and to be positive with joy and gratitude daily. And so by speaking out these things, when I go to message somebody, if I remember that I believe that my purpose is to inspire others to connect more with God because of my influence, and that I believe my purpose is to work my business to inspire others to go for time freedom and to help them accomplish that through Beachbody, and that I believe that my purpose is to be positive with joy and gratitude daily. Every day that I say these things is a more positive day. Now, of course, there's hiccups, and of course, there's things that aren't awesome, but all of these things help prime my mind to have the best day. And so I just really want to encourage all of us to start really thinking about what is it that we really want, and speaking life into that, whether that's, written or recorded, or doing the ENVISION method that I shared with you in the link. Does anybody have a vision that they have for themselves? Kind of like I read you a little bit of mine that you guys want to share, whether it's, family, financial, physical, emotional. So I know I gave a little bit of heads up on the email that we would talk about this, because we still have 10 more minutes. How did you write that? Is there a template you followed, or is it just added to as time went on? I believe that it was part of Melanie Mitro and part of Moira. So I think that it was, I'm pretty sure this side is all Mitro and this side was Moira. So I had my vision board first, and that was definitely, that one was definitely Mitro. So the questions on there that she asked you to do, and this is Mitro: what makes me feel happy and fulfilled? What makes me feel accomplished? What are my core values? What are my passions? What do I believe to be my purpose, and how do I envision my best life? And then Moira had you go through a little bit more in hers, kind of talking a little bit more like, what do you specifically want your day to look like? Are you typing that? Okay, Neil's gonna type that for you guys really quick so that it's in the chat and you can copy it over. I have a copy of Mitro's too that I could share below, but that works too. I was gonna say, and then the other is like if that's too much, like do what Brooke did and that's, so Rachel Hollis has a podcast out on her podcast, and it is that 10-10-1. I can't remember the name of the actual podcast. I should link all of this in the show notes. I will link all of this in the show notes on the recording of this call, and it will have all of the links to these things. But she had a podcast, and in that podcast, she talked about her 10-10-1 and how you constructed it. So basically it was like, to get that vision, and Brooke might have this on the top of her mind too, but it was something along the lines of envision your life 10 years from now. What do you want it to be like? Write down 10 maybe it was write down 10 big dreams and then write down 10 goals. And then what is the one thing that you can do to make that happen? I cannot remember that one clearly because that's not the one that I've used the most, but it was really good too. And in her whole podcast, she explained it. And she has a journal as well. So like Rachel Hollis has a journal and a planner that really walks through that process in more depth. So I would invest in time spent though every day figuring out, and not every day, but like in one day, figure out what your vision is, or as much of it as you can, and then speak it aloud. The other one is, you can have vision boards. I know we have vision board parties. Like there's going to be a Beachbody coach or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 that do a vision board party. It just only happens normally at the beginning of the year. But I know like you can go and you can clip magazine clippings. If anybody, and I think almost all of us listen to Melanie Mitro's podcast. I mean, she talks about that like once a month at least, how she had her like glued on pictures of Disney World because that was what she was saving up for, or that was the trip that she could earn that next year with Beachbody. And so she had that so that she would see it every single day. So whatever it is that would trigger for you. And like, I have a little bit of both. Downstairs, I have a picture of our feet, Braylon, Neil, and myself, our feet on the ground, circling this, like, it might even be a water. What are those things on the ground? A sewage thing. I think it is a sewage thing, but it said City of Destin. And that's like, and I have it down there for the reason that I'm like, we will be in the City of Destin this time next year. Like that's where we'll be. And so I've kept it down there. It's in my workout room. I see it every day. And then on the workout room board, there's like writing on that wall of different things. There's a paycheck that's a $4,000 paycheck that I'm like, and it had a date on it. We've surpassed that date. It's never happened. Date's come and gone, but it will happen. Like, I'm just like, I know it will. Like, I just know it will. Like, I'm not doubting things anymore. I'm just like in its own due time because I've seen how my vision for other things has come true. So any questions, comments? Anybody else want to share? I know I shared a lot. Was this helpful? Sort of ish.
I'm always willing to share my vision because I feel like people think I'm crazy. No, one thing for us is like my husband has a lot of passions and like things that he would love to do. And so, I mean, I've always wanted to own my own business. I've always wanted to be able to provide for our family in a way that we can do whatever we want, which may sound like, I don't know, frivolous or what, like, I don't want it to come off that way. I don't want us to have to think about money. If we want to go somewhere, I don't want to have to think, do we have the money for this? Or, you know, are we going to use the money somewhere else? And so my vision the whole time has been, I want to make 6 figures. I don't want my husband to have to work if he doesn't want to. Like if he wants to go like to crane school to learn how to use a crane just because he thinks it's fun, I want him to be able to do that. Like his brother lives in Albuquerque and we love it out there, but realistically he's on with the fire department here. That's not a possibility for us because he'd be starting over his 30 years, you know, at the age of 28. And so like, I don't want that to be a concern. I want us to say, if we want to move to Albuquerque, we can, and jobs aren't an issue because I can work from anywhere. And that's the only thing that matters. So like, I have a lot of other really little specific things, but it basically just comes down to, I want us to have a life of freedom and I want everyone else to feel that same way. Like I literally, when I have friends that are upset about having to go to work, like last night I was crying to my husband because I feel like I'm living my dream life because I get to be home with my kids and I have a purpose and I get to help women find that too. And I'm like, why doesn't everyone do this? I just don't. So yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. And speak it as though it's happened. Not, I want to have that 6-figure income. Like just go ahead and speak it. Because like you said last night, you're living your dream life. All right, I'm living my dream life and I have that 6-figure income and we're able to move to Albuquerque. Like that's your life. So, thank you for sharing, Haley. All right. Anybody else have anything that they have on their heart that they would like to share? I'm going to take a quick screenshot. Everybody get their faces in. I'm like, where's Emily? She's way far away. I'm going to wait till she gets closer. She's like, I'm baking bread. By the way, that has been quite impressive. I will just go ahead and say. And that stretch light stuff that you have is the best. All right, everybody smile. Bethany smile. Yay. All right, I'll put it in Team Give after this. But I really appreciate you guys for hopping on a Tuesday night. Don't forget, so this is, I know I had this typed up, but I cannot remember, so I'm going to try my best to remember what I had that I didn't want you guys to forget. Don't forget, you've got your promo codes that you can use. Don't feel like there's too much pressure. If that's putting too much pressure on you, ignore those promo codes. And if somebody comes to you, then that's when you use them. Let's see. And just remember that your story is what tells. Like your story is what sells. Facts tell, stories sell. So remember to share that story, Brooke. And Haley, share, like, I don't know if you're comfortable sharing your mom's story, but those type of things are what will pull at somebody's heart even more than us just being like, I'm starting this new 100-day fitness program. Instead, like, sharing your story about like what has the community or the coaching opportunity or just like opening your eyes to your vision done for you. So, all right, y'all. I love you, ladies. Have a good rest of your evening. Bye.